Ja, hallo und guten Abend bei Handmade hier in unserer Sonderausgabe zu 50 Jahre Sailor. Wir haben hier einen ganz besonderen Gast an der Strippe und zwar den Schlagzeuger, den Grant. Hello Grant,
Guten
welcome to
Abend.
the show.
Thank you. Right, well, I first met George through a B.A. Robertson, who you may remember had a record called Bang Bang. And George was working at the time with Phil. They were Kiana's Pickett, and Henry was a friend of Phil's, and so we got together. There were four of us. We didn't want to have five people, so we didn't want a bass guitar. And so Phil willingly volunteered to play keyboard bass, which worked out. And then I think George came up with the idea of the Nickelodeon, which was this sort of strange looking thing that combined two keyboards. Anyway, at the time, bands like Genesis were producing very sort of visual, sort of artistic, sort of pop music. And so, as George had written the musical called Sailor the Musical, we all agreed that we would pursue that. And the first album would be all about sailors coming into town and, well, doing what sailors do when they come into town. And so that's how that worked. And although I'd been in bands where I improvised. In Sailor, we had no intention of improvising, and we wanted to play everything perfectly. So every time we played it the same way. And in fact, it's very interesting because about 6 months ago, I was looking at a video of us playing at a place I think called the Kassel in Southend. And we were so exactly like the record, playing Girls, Girls, Girls. I thought we must be miming.
That is a fantastic concert. That's like the best ever live concert of Sailor ever recorded, that Southend thing, yeah.
Yeah, that's right. And the strange thing is then George just rephrased something that was totally different from the record. And I realized, no, this was live. And just I felt so proud that we played so close to the record. And therefore, it's very difficult looking at videos of us to see whether we were miming or not.
Get up and meet those pretty girls, girls, girls. Step on, walk and swing, put on the dazzling charm. Get up, find those pretty girls. Don't rush, keep it nice and gentle, and sentimental for that certain moment.
Right, okay. Sailor, the first album, was only successful in Holland. But then when we did the second album, Glass of Champagne was successful in all over Europe. And but Girls, Girls, Girls was already released in Holland. And so what happened was that the people in Holland started transferring girls to Germany. And so therefore they had to release Girls, Girls, Girls at the same time as Glass of Champagne. And so we're one of the few bands to have two records in the top 10 in Germany at the same time. And again,
indeed,
something that makes me very proud. Very lucky, but very proud.
Oh, okay.
The thing I'd love to say is that Sailor changed my life. You know, Sailor gave me the most wonderful life that I would never have had without Sailor. And I will always be grateful to the other members for giving me that opportunity to express myself artistically, but also, you know, to be successful as a musician. Okay. We loved doing gigs, and we did lots of gigs, and then obviously we did other albums. And then eventually when George decided that he'd had enough of performing, then we were very, very lucky that I knew Pete Lincoln, And I can't remember how I knew Pete, but anyway, I knew him. It was some strange coincidence that we had someone we knew in common. But because of that, Peter came along, and Peter then became the lead singer, and that worked out for years. And obviously what Peter has done subsequently is a measure of what a good performer he is. But all I can say, the main thing I want to say is my gratefulness to George, Henry and Phil for giving me the opportunity to play the drums in Sailor, and also to play the keyboard in Sailor's Night on the Town when we played live, which was the most terrifying experience of my life.
I can tell watching the video, yeah.
Yeah, so there you go. So I don't know if you have any questions you'd like to ask.
You did a great job on that, though. I mean, it must have been terrifying, your first ever live concert, and then on television, and then they make the poor drummer play the keyboard in the Nickelodeon.
Yeah, exactly. And the thing is, just one finger. And the thing is, it would be so easy to play the note next door, either with it or instead of it. But I managed to avoid it, but it was always, once I got through that, the rest of the set was always pure joy. But, before that, I would be sitting there sweating, thinking, well, this is coming up soon. But, there you go. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. On the video, you can see Grant holding onto the knob of the Nickelodeon right. With the other hand.
Yes.
In sheer panic.
Yeah, indeed.
Treat him with love, but only after his pay. For living is dear and so much shorter each year. So make the most of it while you're still young. It's the sailor's night on the town. By now, you should know what to do. It's the sailor's night on the town. Can't you hear them calling for you? So fill them with lust and sparkling champagne. Hey, give them a good time so they will come back again. It's the sailor's night on the town, girl. So make the most of it while you're still young.
Yeah, another thing I must mention is the video of us on German television, where the monkeys came on and then the pig came on. And I can't remember where that was. Can you remember where that was?
It was on the 3rd of September 1991 in Berlin at a TV show.
Right. Oh, right. Yeah. Because
Phil would always call it the windsurfing pig, but the pig was wearing a tuxedo.
Yeah,
so it's not a windsurfing pig.
No, Phil's right. We all called it the windsurfing pig. Absolutely correct. Yes. Indeed. Yeah, very, very strange.
Lovely.
Yeah. Indeed.
Yeah. I still have the video of that on an old VHS cassette, and it's also on YouTube now. I put it on YouTube a couple of years ago.
All right.
For everybody's amusement.
Yeah. And frequently at my golf club, other members of the golf club will occasionally come in and show me a Sailor video on their phones, because they've sort of been seeking out Sailor videos. And so, I pretend to be embarrassed, but in fact, I'm very pleased.
You can be very proud. I also keep getting YouTube comments from former pupils of yours. They keep writing and praising you. And just the other day, I had a comment from somebody who said, he was my teacher and he taught me to play a bit of drums and he was so great.
Yeah.
So they pop up everywhere.
Yeah,
which is
but
nice.
also the Hoosiers often mention the fact that Erwin Sparks, I taught Erwin, and they were starting the band, and I said to him, if you want to write songs, you've got to get experience, so you've got something to write about. And I think he's always been grateful for that bit of advice.
Yeah, I've read that in a lot of interviews of theirs. Yeah.
Yeah. So again, very, very proud of that. And also,
Lovely.
because I do private tuition of A-level chemistry, I have a lot of people who've now become doctors. And
Lovely.
they sometimes phone me and thank me for, helping them to become doctors.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, it's lovely. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember you telling us in the 90s that you just came out of school and onto a plane and then flew over to Germany to play one or two of the oldie festivals in the 90s. So you always managed to do both your jobs really well after the comeback.
Yeah, well, I was very, very lucky because when Sailor reformed in, was it 89, I think, or 90, I'm not sure which, I went to the headmaster and I said, Ivan, I have to resign because Sailor is reforming and we're going to have a lot of gigs in Germany this year. And he said, no, I will keep you on. I insist you stay on and we will find a way of covering for you in case you have to do a gig. And so that happened. And the earliest I ever got to school, twice I got to school at 7:45 because I'd taken the 6 o'clock flight from Cologne.
Oh, God.
Yeah. And so I then got into school. And of course, it was very strange at school, because if we'd done a gig like Schwarzenberg or Bad Segeberg or whatever, I would show the students I taught the video and they'd look at the video and see this massive crowd of people. Then they'd look at this sort of 40-year-old bloke and they just couldn't connect the two. They just think, what on earth is going on here?
Fantastic.
Yeah. Oh, sorry, my camera is wandering. Yes.
It's drowning.
Yeah, exactly.
Dressed for drowning. No, that joke works more with Phil.
Oh, right. Yes, that's right. Yeah. Yeah, indeed.
Yeah. So do you have any particular very favorite moments from the 70s or 90s or later? Anything that stood out as a fun moment or anything special?
I don't, seriously, there were so many special moments that I can't think of. I mean, obviously having one's first hit record was amazing, and that obviously, and you realize then you had a future as a musician. And, I feel very sorry for musicians now because it is much, much more difficult now being a musician than it was, especially since Brexit, which, I hate Brexit, I'm afraid. I'm a European and I always will be. My son lives in Germany, and so, I'm a European. And no, I really feel sorry for young musicians now, because it's so much more difficult for them because there are so many more of them and there are fewer opportunities. And, I believe that just for an English band to go into Europe, it costs them about £1,000 before they even played a concert. Yeah. And to me, that is so unfair, because Europe is such a wonderful market, and our success was mainly in Europe, especially Germany. Bless you all. I'm so grateful.
Yeah, we were so lucky to meet you all and to experience all these fun moments. I mean, I've been to 118 Sailor shows,
Really?
not counting the ones that Ollie does these days on his own, Yeah. And I mean, how lucky can one be in a lifetime? I mean, if I just think about all these moments we've had, I mean, your very last concert, for example, was my 100th. And I remember you saying you wanted to wait until that happened and only quit afterwards and not leave the band just before that, which is very sweet of you. Still remember that.
No, but seriously, Katrin, you've been so important in the history of Sailor. You have been the main means of Sailor communicating, in ways other than just doing concerts or putting out records. And, all of us are so grateful to you for what you've done. Seriously, and that's the absolute truth. Yeah. Yeah. No, I think one thing I do remember is when we played, oh God, what's the big arena in the Waldbühne in Berlin?
Berlin, yeah.
And we were in a 70s building, lots of bands, but we did 3 nights there.
Yeah.
And he sold out the first 2 nights, and then I think there were 20,000 the third night. And then the next night there was Bryan Adams, and he only did 1 night. So it was a measure of how much the German people appreciated 70s music.
Yeah.
You know, really. And it's lovely. And occasionally I'll be sitting and the radio's on, and suddenly a Sailor record comes on. And I think, wow, you know, it's lovely. Or I'll get a WhatsApp from a friend saying, just listening to a Sailor record, you know, because they're still played quite a bit, especially Glass of Champagne.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know. Yeah.
And also all these fantastic other fans that my brother and I met through the band. I mean, we're still in touch with people like Crystal and Michaela and Heiner and everybody we've met. So many great friendships for life, and you guys as well, of course, and your families partly. I mean, your lovely wife Michelle and everyone we've met. It's just amazing.
Yeah,
just fantastic.
Yeah. Well, I can remember when we did the concert in Chemnitz for the heart hospital, and you know, we were all given free tests. And I will never forget the young lady that gave me the heart, the ECG on my heart, and she said, "Good heart." And my father died of heart disease at 62, so you know, I was very grateful to be told "good heart." You know, I'll never
fantastic.
Forget.
Yeah, just for my listeners to explain, that was a very special charity event in 2002, organized by a dear friend of ours, Wilma, who unfortunately passed away a couple of years ago, but we will never forget her and her great work.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
No, yeah. No, it's lovely to see, you know, the same fans in the front row. You know, it's lovely. It connects you more with the audience by having those people somehow. You know, I can't explain, but it's lovely. You know, yeah. And you know, I always loved performing. It was just great fun. You know, you don't say you're going out to work today. You say you're going out to play today. You know, it's a very different thing. You know.
Best job.
Indeed, yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah, yeah, and we still communicate with each other. You know, I spoke to George about probably a month ago, Phil probably 3 weeks ago. You know, we're still talking to each other. I phoned Henry a while ago, but he was in the Channel Islands, I think. But I'll probably give him a ring tonight because I'm sure he's back by now. Yeah. No, I can't think of what other concerts. I can remember Schwarzenberg. What's this? What's the other big arena?
Bad Segeberg is where you had your
Segeberg,
where you had your comeback show at the 18th of May 1991.
That's absolutely right. Yes. In fact, I was watching that video a while ago, and I was quite nervous. That's, you know, the comeback show, you know, because we hadn't done it for a while, you know, because I was just a teacher then. But there you go. Yeah.
Tell me why does your secretary? Tell me why does your secretary? When you know that you're lost in the heat of the action, leave it in the hands of love. Leave it in the hands of love.
You know what's weird about this? This was, as I said, the 18th of May 1991.
Yeah.
And then in 2014, without you, Sailor did their very last gig in Bad Segeberg at this very arena.
Right.
Also a playback show with Ollie on vocals and Phil and Henry and a different drummer.
Yeah.
And it was the very last thing they ever did as a band, and it aired on the 18th of May 2014. Right. So it's kind of full circle with this date somehow. It's really weird.
Strange. Yes. Very, very strange.
Nobody knows these weird date things apart from me, but
Yes.
I think it's funny.
No, seriously, as I get older, I just forget stuff, you know, detail, you know, like, you know, people's names, you know, so, yeah, I don't know what else I can say, really. Yeah. No, it's just, you know, the most wonderful period of my life was working with Sailor. You know, really, really just great, you know, such creative people.
Including yourself.
Well, I don't know. You know, the drummer is the person that sits at the back and
no.
builds a shed. He just bangs on building a shed.
No. Don't start the "I'm only the drummer" thing again.
Oh well, you know.
First thing you ever said to me was this.
Oh really? Oh dear. Well, it's true. I'm only the drummer, you know. Well, plus
No.
the Sailor's Night at the Town, obviously. Yeah.
I was just going to say, you also kind of discovered the sound when George played you his vision for the Sailor musical and the whole thing, and for the first album. And when Sailor's Night on the Town came on, apparently you were the first to react to that and
Yeah, I
to
think
kind of
George.
discover
Yeah, I
what
think George
what it all
said that.
meant.
Yeah, because it fitted in with what was happening in popular music, you know. I mean, like Genesis, you know, and it's interesting. A friend of mine took me to a Steve Hackett concert a while ago, and I sat through this concert and I had no idea what it was all about because I didn't know the music, and there were these songs that lasted a quarter of an hour that were in 5 different bits. It meant nothing to me. And then afterwards, on YouTube, I then played these tracks to myself on YouTube, and I realized I'd listened to Genius, and I didn't realize it. You know, just wonderful music. You know, songs like Cinema Show and Supper's Ready. You know, wonderful, wonderful music. And you know, I heard Steve Hackett playing it, and at the time it meant nothing to me. You know, because I find it difficult to judge music on the first hearing. You know, I have to hear a record, you know, a couple of times or 3 times before I realize how good it is. But there you go. Yeah. But no, it was, you know, the music is so complex, and you don't imagine popular music, a song lasting a quarter of an hour with, you know, 5 different time signatures. And, you know, and and it was only when I heard it several times, I realized absolutely wonderful, you know, and just talking about it makes the hairs on my arms stand on end. You know, I
See,
love that.
That's what good music does.
Yeah, absolutely it does.
It's what Sailor does to me.
Oh, well, there you go. Yeah, indeed. Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah. But it's lovely to talk to you, Catherine. Really.
I mean, listen to that. Just they had a song which is 15 minutes long, and the whole Sailor album Trouble is just under half an hour. You know.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And yet so much brilliance put into these 10 little wonderful songs there. It's still one of my all-time favorites, as is Street Lamp, because that's the one I kind of grew up with. I mean, I mean, it's the last one of the original lineup, and it's also only 32 years old this year. But that's the one that really got to me, especially like Precious Form and Street Lamp and stuff. So
yeah, sure.
Always has a special place in my heart, as well as the comeback album, because that's when I found out about you brilliant people.
All right. Yeah. Yeah, but a nice thing happened. A friend of mine at the moment is on holiday in Norway, and they were going by train to Trondheim, and so we were WhatsApping each other. And so I said, "Oh, well, George, I was born in Trondheim, and but also, you'll probably remember this. It's either Glass of Champagne, I think it was Glass of Champagne, or Girls Go Girls, that George wrote on the train, either going to or from Trondheim. Now you must ask him this if you interview him."
Yeah, I will.
Because I'm sure it was on the train to either to or from Trondheim that George came up with the idea of Glass of Champagne.
Lovely.
Yeah, indeed.
See, that's the kind of background information we need.
Yeah. No, I can't think of anything else. You know, just wonderful memories, really.
Lovely. Yeah. Do you have an all-time favorite Sailor song, or maybe several? Is there anything that we really have to play today? Anything that you think is completely underrated, maybe?
Well, obviously, Glass of Champagne. You know, you're bound to play that, and obviously that is very special to me. Yeah, I don't know. Jacaranda. I always loved Jacaranda.
Oh, lovely. Yes.
and also Sailor's Night on the Town, you know, because it was so different from anything else that was happening in music at the time. You know, and it really set the atmosphere for the first Sailor album, I think. You know, and you know, we were just lucky, you know, that was successful in Holland, because if that hadn't taken off in Holland, then probably there wouldn't have been the promotion that CBS gave us for the second album.
Yeah, and I think Traffic Jam was quite a big hit in Holland too, the first single, wasn't it?
Oh, it was, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Then I think Sailor was a hit there as well. But it was only that, you know, that market that made it, you know, and the band, you know, if I turn this here, you can see certain things here. Yeah. So I'm sitting amongst all the, you know, wonderful trophies that we have. Yeah.
Lovely.
Indeed. Yeah.
Well deserved.
Yeah, indeed. Yeah. But I haven't, you know, the trouble with being a drummer is you're parasitic. You know, you don't play the drums on your own. So I haven't touched a drumstick for probably 12 years or something now.
Oh.
You know, it's sad. But I still have my drum kit.
That's good.
Yes, no, I still have my drum kit. You know,
Lovely.
I probably won't play it again, but I still have it. You know, yeah, indeed. But the strange thing is that when I'm tutoring, okay, I tutor online, because since COVID, my wife and I don't tutor face to face. But when I'm waiting for a student to come online, so they'll call me on Skype or on FaceTime, I'll sit going. And I'll just keep doing that. So
you still got it?
Very silly, a strange man.
Oh no.
Yeah. Strange habits. Yeah.
Just a little Schlagzeuger, right?
Yeah, just an old Schlagzeuger. Yeah, indeed. Yeah. No, I'm trying to think of other memorable concerts.
The one where we got to know you was in Dortmund at the big Westfalen Hall, around famous venue, yes. Which is, I think it used to be the biggest European indoor venue at the time. It's not anymore, but it used to be in the 90s.
Yeah.
So those were special for me personally, because that's when we got to know you. We lined up very early during the day, because my big brother said at a festival you have to be there early, and then not a single other person came until like 4:30, 5 o'clock, and we were freezing. And then suddenly this other girl approached us and said, why are you here? I'm here because of Smokey. And we said Sailor, and she said she didn't know who that was. And we're still friends to this day. It was Inka, if you remember.
Really?
Inka.
Yeah,
and then when they opened the doors, we made it to, I think, the second row, and she was very tiny, so people let her into the front row. And she said, well, if Sailor are on before Smokey, we will swap places. And that was the kindest thing anybody's ever done for me, because that's how we met all of you.
Yeah.
I held up my little sign, and then Henry discovered it and invited us backstage. So that's how everything started.
Yeah. Another thing I'm grateful for Sailor, that when Bruce Springsteen did his first concert in the UK, because CBS had a reputation for promoting bands that were not necessarily very good, apparently, at the time, the press didn't give him a very good write-up, and so they were struggling to sell tickets for the Bruce Springsteen's first concert at the Apollo in Hammersmith. So therefore, CBS gave us free tickets. And so I saw Bruce Springsteen's first concert in the UK, and I'll never forget it. I mean, just an amazing experience. And Born to Run is still one of my favorite tracks. Absolutely wonderful piece of music.
I just saw him live 3 weeks ago.
Oh, really? Yeah.
First time. Yeah. Still fantastic.
A friend of mine went 2 weeks ago, I think, to see him. Yeah.
Still fantastic. I mean, Max Weinberg is also such a great drummer. It's amazing.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, indeed. Yeah, indeed. Yeah. Right. Oh, well, I'm sure I've taken up enough of your time, Catherine. It's lovely to talk to you.
That's all right.
Yeah. But, as you get older, memory becomes more of a problem. So, asking me about memories is very difficult, I'll see someone, I say, well, I know that person. but I can't remember their name. And so I'll have to creep over to someone else and say, can you tell me that person's name? Because I forgot. Yeah.
Happens to me too, though. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm over 40 now, so it's
But
starting.
the strange thing, Catherine, is as you get older, music does not degenerate. You still remember music. You remember the notes.
Oh, that's good.
You remember the lyrics. And in fact, you know, with dementia, I think they now realize how important music is to people with dementia, because it is the key to the past. You know, it's just quite remarkable that you know, you can see people that, you know, I've seen things on television where they play a piece of music to someone with dementia and they light up, you know, because it connects them with their previous life that otherwise they are not connected with. And music just has that power, you know, the wonder of music. You know, when you can think, there are places in the world where music is banned, you know, it's a strange world, really. Yeah.
That's
But
true.
anyway, all I can say is thank you, George. Thank you, Henry. Thank you, Phil, for giving me a wonderful life. Really, so grateful. Okay, jolly good. Okay. Well, lovely to talk to you. Have a lovely evening.
Thank you for taking the time.
That's all right. Okay, jolly good. Okay, bye then, Catherine. Have a nice evening. And Skype worked. That's good, isn't it?
Fantastic.
Okay, well,
I'm glad we
cheers,
sorted that.
okay.
Say hi to your
then.
wife.
Yeah, bye, John. Cheers then. Bye.
Bye. Thank you.